One. Welcome to the June 3rd, 2026 meeting of the Maplewood Township Committee. As you know, this is a different night normally because we had the election yesterday, so we shifted back a day. I'm going to read the statement and then we'll go from there. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2026 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2025, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Adams?
Here.
Collins Colding? Here. Mr. Daffis?
Present.
Ms. Herman?
Here.
Mayor DeLuca?
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public, and whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, and whereas the desire of the governing body to comply with the provision of this act, at the same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township of Maplewood, does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the governing body by the public, except as otherwise described by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Thank you.
Would you please join us in a salute to the flag?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So welcome again to our meeting. I'm going to run through the agenda real quick. We did get a special permission from Mayor Mamdani to stay up late to watch the Knicks game, but we also want to move the meeting through so that we could get to see the Knicks game.
It starts at 8:30, just for the record.
We thank Mayor Mamdani. So we're going to do a proclamation on Pride Month. Then we're going to appoint a member of the Recreation Advisory Committee. We're going to have public comment on agenda items only, and I know some of you are here to talk about our discussion items in which we're going to talk about the Maplewood Immigrant Trust Act ordinance and the restricted access to township public property. During the public comment, that would be the time to come up and speak. During the public comment, okay? Then we're going to have a presentation of the SOMA Shuttle Working Group, and we asked them to keep that to around 15 minutes. We have our Board of Health meeting, which is a monthly meeting. Then we're going to have a public hearing on our budget amendment, and then we are going to adopt the 2026 budget. We have an ordinance on final to make some changes to the Community Board on Police, and then we're going to be introducing 3 new ordinances dealing with right on red, salary ranges for employees, and some changes to the Village Alliance Improvement District regulations. We'll hear from our administrators, we'll have reports from elected officials, and then we'll get into our 2 discussion items, which is Maplewood Immigrant Trust Act and restricted access to township public property. We have a consent agenda, a number of resolutions on here, contracts, paying bills, and we'll be going through that. And then we have our second public comment, which is any item that you'd like to talk to us about. So with that, we are going to move into our first proclamation. We're going to ask Committeeman Daffis if he would do the Pride Month proclamation. And you're going to do it down there?
With pleasure, Mayor. Thank you. So we can make some room. If there's anyone in the public who wishes to join me, please do. to stand up here with me. Or not. You can sit down. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Mayor, for giving space here to do this important proclamation.
Good thing it's rang before the...
I'll take that as a cue that this is a good thing that we're doing. And look at that progressive flag. Isn't that beautiful? I want to just acknowledge two special guests that we have. All of you are special guests. All the residents of Maplewood are special. But we have two in particular special guests as it relates to Pride advocacy, LGBTQ notable advocates. We're joined this evening from Essex County's Office of LGBTQ Affairs, the one and only Reginald Bledsoe. We call him Reggie. He's a dear friend. And we have our very own trans advocate, first trans elected, former BOE in South Orange, Maplewood School District, the one and only Shannon Cuttle. Thank you both for being here with us today. Yes. So we're not going to do too much pomp and circumstance tonight about this. We invite you instead to come tomorrow night at 6 o'clock right outside. If we have the great weather we're having tonight, we're going to have a really joyful flag raising for Pride. And we're really going all out. We're going to have snacks and music and balloons. Please come out. And it's family friendly, and we really, really need people to stand together with the LGBTQ community. So let me start before I do the proclamation by saying that I'm really proud of our community and this governing body in particular, because right here, right now, even in Essex County, you may not be aware, communities right next to us are not raising the Pride flag. They're not having Pride celebrations. They're caving to the national pressure to eliminate Pride and eliminate the inclusion and celebration of all kinds of ethnicities and communities. And certainly when we think about what's happening at Delaney Hall, that's really, really relevant, right? Because freedom and liberty and justice for all, we just said, as we saluted our great flag, applies intersectionally to all. I started my Pride Month, an exhausting month, right, of celebrations in West Orange on Sunday night. We're West Orange. West Orange, my friends. Very diverse community right next door to us recently passed an ordinance that forbids them from raising any flag in celebration of any cultural heritage other than the American flag, which belongs to all of us, right? It's our flag. And they, in doing so, also eliminated a rainbow crosswalk, which was painted on the front municipal steps. So that's just an example of what's going on just right here around the corner. So we have to stay vigilant, we have to stay visible, and we have to do it together. We need everyone. So please join us tomorrow night and throughout the month at our various Pride celebrations. So our proclamation says that this is in support of June as Pride Month. We do this annually. It says that Maplewood is a diverse and inclusive community in which our residents take great pride in our diversity and strongly believe in safety, opportunity, and equality for all who live and work in our towns, regardless of their immigration status, religion, ethnicity, race, gender, gender expression, identity, or their sexual orientation. Maplewood recognizes the human rights of all residents and actively supports an end to all forms of prejudice and discrimination. And we're going to be talking about the injustice our immigrants are facing right now and our attempt in strengthening our welcoming status here in Maplewood through Maplewood's own immigrant trust law later during the meeting, so stay around for that. We honor our LGBTQIA plus community and its rich, significant contributions to the history and quality of life in Maplewood, throughout Essex County, and in our nation. We are woven into the fabric of America. We are. We always have been. And we always will be. The Township Committee of Maplewood is committed to promoting LGBTQIA equality and fostering, welcoming, and affirming LGBTQIA spaces in our town. We stand with the community at a time of significant federal threats to our safety, health, and well-being by executive orders, legislation, budget cuts, eliminating all kinds of things, access to affirming health care, to mental health support for our students, to the trans community, particularly our trans youth. HIV prevention is under threat. Banning transgender military service. And we have a remarkable, courageous local older resident who came out later in her life who served our country during war in combat with pride. Attacking trans youth in sports, banning LGBTQIA inclusive books in schools. And I'm so proud that our Maplewood Library believes in the freedom to read and has been recognized nationally for that reason. Maplewood Township Committee unequivocally condemns these direct threats and the reported rising bullying and violence against the LGBTQIA community, that these attacks are emboldening. So what do we do during Pride? What exactly are we recognizing or raising awareness about? We raise awareness of these ongoing threats, the indignities and discrimination facing the community, and uplift the LGBTQIA community's resilience, perseverance, and power in fighting back and overcoming hate or fear, from the early sit-ins and riots against violent police raids in underground bars or other safe places, to today's well-organized and politically powerful and influential international LGBTQIA civil rights movement that's produced greater equality under the law and greater representation everywhere, in politics at all levels, in mainstream media, arts, culture, in school curricula, and in all facets of society, openly and visibly. So on this 57th anniversary, it's been 57 years. I always get emotional when I say that, of the Stonewall Uprising, the 56th anniversary of the first Gay Pride March, and the 46th anniversary of the first National March for LGBTQ equality in Washington, D.C., we honor and celebrate queer resistance and queer liberation by those courageous and fearless early queer pioneers who fought back, who first led us, including the drag queens that are now under attack, and trans persons of color like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. We stand on their shoulders, and many other trans persons of color who were whitewashed in mainstream LGBTQ history. My lotion and all the stuff that makes the face look good is getting in my eyes. We recommit ourselves to continue standing together in the fight for full federal LGBTQ equality, inclusive curriculum, access to affirming healthcare and mental health support, strengthened hate crime protections, open and safe spaces for all LGBTQIA persons. So, we resolve here today, like we do every June, that Maplewood's first openly queer representative, its first member of this esteemed governing body, its first mayor, hopefully not its last, on behalf of the entire Township Committee of Maplewood, do hereby proclaim June 2026 as LGBTQIA Pride Month in Maplewood Township. We commemorate, we honor those who came before us, especially the persons of color who changed the course of our liberation history around the world, those at Stonewall, and those who preceded them, and urge all people of Maplewood and beyond to join and support our advocacy, our actions, promote diversity and inclusion, create welcoming and affirming spaces for LGBTQ youth, trans and non-binary folks, persons of color, and be visible, outspoken allies and upstanders, for any injustice against one is an injustice against all. Thank you. I welcome Shannon to say a few words, and I welcome Reggie to say a few words on this occasion. Please.
Thank you, Committeeman Dean Daffis. I just want to thank again Mayor Victor Luca, the entire Maplewood Township Committee, to once again being the model and leader in our state for being able to be upstanders, not just speaking out and speaking up for the LGBTQIA plus community, but for many communities that are underserved and marginalized across our state of New Jersey. And also want to recognize the power of allyship and being upstanders that speak out and up, not just online and offline. Actions matter. And oftentimes people hear me say that visibility matters, representation matters, it can change lives, and it can save lives. And as I always say too, to our youth out there, please know that you are loved, you matter, you are not alone, you belong here. Come out and let us celebrate you. Tomorrow, when we do the flag raising, this week, on Friday, for our annual MAPSO Lavender graduation at CHS at 6 p.m., and then at Lavender Ball following for our youth. Now more than ever, we need our allies to speak up and show up, to be brave allies, to be able to talk to your neighbors, your coworkers, your family and friends, especially now in these moments, and show up and up again, because that's so powerful. Thank you again to the Township Committee.
So I'm going to be really, really brief. Good evening, august body of the Township Committee, Mayor DeLuca, Committeeman Daffis, and the entire committee. Just would like to say thank you for recognizing Pride Month. You all are leaders in this fight. We thank you for your allyship. Maplewood is leading and taking the lead where there are so many vulnerable pockets across this country, and specifically in this county. You all are that beacon of light and that hope that you are a town that's getting it right. And I just can't thank you enough for always being there for this community. You know, when we're not around, this town and its leadership is leading the way. So I'm not surprised that you all are doing this, but I just would like to say thank you for continual support. Thank you for showing other towns what it is to be a model for the LGBTQ community. So as always, congratulations, and I appreciate to be in community with you all, and I'm grateful to you all. Thank you.
Did you guys want to?
Yeah, that's come.
Right up here?
How is the chocolate first? Probably made him bad.
Yes.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Herman, if you could take us to the board appointment on Recreation Advisory.
Oh, yes. Very exciting. I love when we get new volunteers to our boards and committees. And this volunteer, I'm very excited about, Marissa Russell. If you could please come up and introduce yourself and tell us why you want to be on the Recreation Board. And I will tell you all as she's coming up, I met Marissa online because she had some stuff to say about our fields. And you know what? I love it when residents have something to say and they're willing to get up and volunteer to make it better. So, all right, take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Marissa Russell. I've lived in Maplewood for the last 12 years. I have 2 daughters. They are 12, almost 13, God help me, and 9, who is currently being driven home from one of her many practices by her coach right now. So sports and recreation has been a big part of our lives so far, and I think that there's some work to be done. I have some experience with just the things that my kids have been involved in. I volunteered for the ski club chaperoning. Wow, that's a lot. So I think there's work to be done, and apparently, you know, you can't just complain on Facebook. So here I am, and that's it. That's me.
Well, we thank you for stepping up, and we're so excited to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
And, you know, talk about all of these things that we're working on. So with that, I would like to move that we appoint Marissa Russell to the Recreation Committee. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the fun.
Okay, next up, we're going to have our first public comment, and that's on agenda items. Again, if you'd like to speak about the Immigrant Trust Act or any other the other discussion item about the public spaces, this would be the time to come up now. And you have 3 minutes, or any other item that's on the agenda.
Michelle Barbaro, 51 Coolidge Road, Maplewood, and League of Women Voters of Maplewood, South Orange. I am not here to talk about the very positive campaign run by the candidates for Township Committee. I am not here to congratulate the 2 winners who won seats for the next term on the Township Committee. That is not why I am here.
Okay.
However, I am here because I have a question about 17B, the supplemental chapter, public property use. As I read it, there are restricted areas, use of public property. Restricted areas are including, and please explain this because I really am confused. Town Hall, Memorial Library, Hilton Library, Department of Public Works Facility, Health Department and Community Support Center, Public Safety Building, Community Center at DeHart Park, Senior Center, Community Pool, we'll talk about the pool, the Woodland, the Bergdorf Center, the Art Center, or any other municipal property. Why are these included to designate them as restricted? Can you please help me?
Let's have our attorney respond. I know, it's not on.
The buildings in their entirety are not designated. It's identifying those buildings as buildings that there will be portions of which that can be designated by the business administrator, the chief of police, or the library director in the case of the library. So for example, using this building, obviously the public areas, the meeting room, the hallways, et cetera, would continue to be public, but the space behind the counter in the finance office or the space behind the counter in the building department where only municipal employees or people who are brought back to be administered services by municipal employees should go, those areas can be designated by the business administrator for this building, and for public safety building, it would be the chief of police, and for the library buildings, it would be the library director. But so it's not the entirety of the buildings, it's just saying those are specific buildings that we will look at, and we will identify areas which should be private versus public.
Can you explain why areas of the library would be designated as non-open?
Sure, there may be an employee break room, private offices, perhaps storage, or basement areas where the public is not generally expected or welcome to go.
Thank you.
Or in the case of ICE, ESL classes being conducted.
Weiss.
Yes. So, I mean, this came out of, it was motivated initially out of our clear directive to have our own immigrant trust ordinance in place. And then we realized, well, you know what? We should be a little bit more expansive and think about this more holistically than just in response to what's happening.
Thank you for the explanation. It clarifies.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the Township Committee? Yep. As long as it's on the agenda, this is the time.
This is 17B. I was delighted to see that this was moving along, and I take it these are draft comments and things will go forward. I had, besides the ordinance that was just discussed, are there any other projected elements to the implementation of the new statutes?
Can you identify yourself for the record?
Well, like, I wondered if we had, there's nothing in here about language access,
Right.
about protocol.
Can you first tell everyone your name?
Pardon me?
Can you first identify yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It's all good.
My name is Susan Verchek. I live at 24 Bowden Street, and I'm also the co-chair of Soma Action Immigration Committee.
Thank you, Susan. I can answer that. Now I could say, thank you, Susan, because you've identified yourself. We received those additional elements that you're asking us to consider, and we're going to be discussing those tonight. We received them today, so way after we published the draft ordinance, and we're going to discuss with the Township Committee the additional elements, the language access that you asked about, the legal representation funds.
Okay, and like community education.
Community education, police training, and some of those things. We do believe, and you'll see this reflected in our discussion, that some of those are already included in the ordinance, but we're going to be talking about those elements for possible inclusion.
Okay. I also thought, I went through it not super carefully, but I did think the definitions and the descriptions of warrants and judicial orders and law and orders needed to be tightened up. I thought it wasn't all that clear. I can give you a markup or something. If I had a Word document, I could mark it up, but I did have some problems with you know, anyway, I thought some of the wording could be better. As always, one can look at things and find them to be better. But overall, I really applaud that this is moving forward.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And if I could get a Word version, I would be happy to get it back to you with relative alacrity.
Happy to do so, and welcome your continued partnership in this.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniel Wright, 41 Oberlin Street, chair of the HPC. I just had some questions. We noticed that the Village Alliance design review changes to the design guidelines. I saw that it mentions another meeting, I guess the meeting on the 13th in about 2 weeks. Is that when most of the discussion will be happening about the change to the design guidelines?
The ordinance was discussed at the last Township Committee meeting.
Okay.
And so there was agreement that we would move forward So tonight, we're introducing the ordinance, and then on the 16th, there will be a public hearing and consideration on final adoption.
Okay. I just, I remember in the last meeting discussion about the sandwich boards out front. I was just wondering what the background was on the changes to the window portion of the ordinance.
Can you deal with that?
Sure.
Councilman Defis?
Sure. I could tell you were looking at me as I was looking this way. I have eyes in the back of my head. No, I'm an MVA liaison. That's why he said that. So the two was HPC. Let me start with a question first, and then I'll answer your question. Was HPC not included in MVA's design standard review?
No.
Not at all.
No.
Okay. It was my understanding that HPC was included, but let's move on. The two notable changes in the design standards is with respect to the A-frames, as you mentioned, to make them uniform, to make them more appropriate for the village, because we have all kinds of materials being used right now. And the other change was to tighten up the language as it relates to neon
And the
neon
LED.
signs, right. But the existing language that pertains to coverage of windows, and I forget what the percentage is that's allowed with posters or notices, that hasn't changed.
Okay. I think there was something about the size of the windows and having a bay. It was like the first thing.
I don't remember that, but happy to look into it.
Okay.
And connect you to the MVA as you should have been connected.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to us on an agenda item? Anyone online?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak on agenda items only, please raise your hand. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll close this public comment. There is a second one later on in the meeting. We're now going to have a presentation by the SOMA Shuttle Working Group.
She wants company. She's like, come on up with me. Don't let me do this alone.
All right. Thank you for inviting us here today. We are part of the SOMA Shuttle Working Group. So we have a presentation to share with you, and we'll take some turns with the slides.
And your name is?
And I'm Julia Flath.
Thank you, Julia.
And I live in South Orange, and I'm also chair of Walk Bike Ride South Orange. So our mission, our goal is to create a shared accessible shuttle system that links both towns, both South Orange and Maplewood, enhancing mobility for residents of all ages. Next slide.
You could carry this with you if you want. You could just pick it up.
Okay. Yeah.
That might be easy.
And so our vision is to establish a communal shuttle service beyond commuter transit to link important destinations in both South Orange and Maplewood. And it would be a loop-based shuttle similar to our jitneys with a dependable and consistent schedule. And it would cater to teens, older adults, disabled people, families, and the general public. And all ages would be welcome with caregivers. Now I'm going to hand off to Juliana.
Hi, my name is Juliana Gareffa. I'm a South Orange resident and a member of the South Orange Environmental Commission. So I'll just speak a little bit about why this matters. Reducing our reliance on cars and other private motorized vehicles offers benefits not only to each individual resident, but benefits that ripple out beyond our community's borders. So for shuttle riders, it increases accessibility to places of employment, local businesses, recreation, and services. It also fosters independence for teens, older adults, disabled people, and really anyone who doesn't have access to their own personal vehicle. For the community as a whole, it alleviates traffic congestion and reduces climate warming greenhouse gas emissions. As a South Orange Environmental Commissioner, I'm also here to speak on behalf of my other commissioners in support of this project as just one of improving the environmental impact in our town. Of course, we all know that while we support people's adoption of electric vehicles, just having fewer cars on the road entirely not only increases the safety of the road for people on other modes of transportation, but just decreases the overall amount of emissions. Thank you.
So who is in the working group? We formed starting in the fall, and there are a lot of people involved now. So we have members from, we represent a lot of people besides just who's here right now. Walk, Bike, Ride South Orange, Soma 2 Towns for All Ages, the South Orange and Maplewood Senior Advisory Committees, the Maplewood Youth Advisory Committee, South Orange Columbia High School students, the South Orange Environmental Commission, the Maplewood Environmental Advisory Committee, Soma Action, the Board of Education, the School District Green Team, other local residents, and then we have invited Jespy House, the Maplewood All Access Committee, and then our business district groups for South Orange, Maplewood Village, and Springfield Ave to get involved in the conversation. And at the town level, we have the South Orange Village Council involved, the South Orange Parking Authority, and Maplewood Township Committee. And I'll also add that we are open to more volunteers. The more voices we have involved in this, the better it's going to reflect the needs of our community, and we could also use a co-chair. So now, with the next slide, we'll move into what we've found so far that people want and why they want a shuttle. So families, things that families want: transportation for households that have only one car or no car, alternatives to driving, and to show children the benefits of public transportation, because it can be a joyful thing. Adults also want access to go out to restaurants on evenings and weekends without a car, or to do daytime errands, and to not have to worry about competing over parking, to not have to worry about drunk driving, and to have an affordable alternative to taking a car service to go out in the evening. For what our youth want, we're going to hear from a member of the Maplewood Youth Advisory Committee.
Hi, I'm Violet Kessler. I'm a member of the Youth Advisory Committee, and I'm here to represent kind of what the youth have to say about this idea. So we want independence and to be more able to take advantage of the town's resources and things, because that's not something that teenagers are very used to or very involved with the towns as much as I think that we should be. So access to sports or extracurriculars and jobs, because a lot of us want to be active and involved in our community. Access to and from school to reduce traffic congestion, to get from farther neighborhoods like Hilton or the downtowns, car-free transportation since there are not enough bike lanes yet. And so we are still working on the minimum age to travel without a caregiver, but overall these are the main reasons why youth people are really looking to have more transportation and be involved in public transportation. So it would be great for our independence and allow us to be more involved in the community, really. And parents want to promote independence for their teens, and it would be more efficient for them to not have to be driving their kids everywhere all the time, and better for the environment. So that's just good for everyone overall, really.
My name is Phoebe Spanier. I live in Maplewood. I'm also the chair of the Climate Committee of Soma Action, and I don't have a slide to present, But I will just add that as a parent of teenagers, I would love to not be driving them between Maplewood and South Orange, which is very trafficy, and I think this would be an amazing solution.
I'll be filling in for our liaison from the South Orange Senior Advisory Committee, of which I am not quite a member yet. So older adults and people with disabilities want access particularly to the South Orange train station because the Maplewood station is not ADA accessible like the South Orange train station is. Currently, with their senior shuttle, they have to call ahead to arrange transportation, and it would just be more convenient for them not to have to make those arrangements ahead of time. They want transportation outside of the hours currently offered by those senior shuttles, and particularly evening transportation, since even a larger population of the older adults don't drive at night, and there are many community events happening in the evenings. They particularly want access to the Baird Community Center, the Maplewood Senior Center, which offers senior activities for both Maplewood and South Orange residents. They want access to restaurants, the movie theater, and of course, like we all do, increased opportunities to get around locally. Thanks.
So this should also have economic benefits for our local businesses, to give people increased access to go to our local shops, services, and restaurants. And as I mentioned before, reduce complaints about parking, so they don't have that as an excuse not to go out. And it can also attract out-of-town residents. With the pilot at the Baker Street Flea, they saw that it did that. And then putting advertising on the shuttle exterior is a potential way that businesses can promote themselves, and there could be other co-branding opportunities. And then in terms of potential destinations on the next slide, so this is all still to be worked out. We're planning to use a community survey to help figure out potential destinations. But in general, some of the priority ones would be the train stations, aligning with some of the New Jersey Transit bus stops, the downtown areas and business districts, the senior centers, as we mentioned, especially the high school, maybe some other schools, libraries, and parks and recreation areas. And why now? So there is a new grant that there's a little bit more details about the grant on the next slide. And it has a rolling application process. So when I last checked with them a few weeks ago, they said it was still open. It was announced a year ago, but it's still ongoing. And there's definitely been community demand building this year that we can keep mobilizing on. And looking for a way to enhance our existing jitney. And yeah, so let's move on to the next slide with more about the grant. It's a federal grant designed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but it's being administered by the New Jersey Transportation Planning Association. I think that's what NJTPA stands for, Local Mobility Initiatives Program. So it is designed for municipalities to create or supplement or enhance their shuttle services. And some of the programs that already received the grant, the funding range was from $185,000 to $750,000, to give you an idea of the range that's possible. And it can cover the cost of purchasing vehicles, as well as operations in general for 3 to 5 years. And it requires a 25% match from the municipality. So if we split that between South Orange and Maplewood, it makes it more feasible more affordable for the towns to cover it. And then there's different options for how to run it that can be looked at, whether to use current municipal vehicles and drivers, to purchase new vehicles, which could be electric, or to hire a vendor that would operate it for us. So some of the, on the next slide, some of the things that we'll need to figure out, the service model that we just, the questions we just talked about, is it run by the municipality or the vendor or hybrid? What vehicles will we use? And then what does the fare structure look like? What are the routes and the hours? What is the age minimum? And then how will we plan to fund it long term once the grant phases out? So, these are all things to figure out. And for today, we're looking for, what's Maplewood's interest in collaborating on this, and figuring out the next steps to explore that. So on the next slide, the committee's path forward that we recommend is that this would be best as a joint initiative between South Orange and Maplewood, because that will make it a stronger application and to the funder, and also really fulfill the needs of our community, because we are one community. And we have been working on a community survey as one of the next steps, and then there have been some pilots already, we can keep working on more pilots, and then apply for the grant funding and figure out the long-term financial plan. On the next slide, there's some details about the status of the survey. So the survey will help us gauge the demand and the desired times and destinations, and inform the plan to develop for the grant application, and ensure it meets the community's needs. So far, the working group has drafted a shuttle that is under review by both towns. And South Orange has suggested a great idea of partnering with Seton Hall marketing students to manage the survey, since municipalities often hire consultants to do these kinds of surveys, but that is a great alternative. And right now, we're thinking early fall could be a good time to do the survey, and we'd also like to try to achieve statistically confident responses. Next slide talks about some pilots that have been happening. So South Orange, in response to some of these requests that we heard from the older adults wanting a loop rather than having to call ahead, is launching next week, 1 day a week, a loop that runs between key senior housing and shopping areas. So the other days, they'll still have on-demand service. And then, it'll be a great opportunity to see what the usage is like, if it's meeting their needs, and some logistical things, logistical learnings from that. And we hope that they enjoy it. And at Baker Street Flea recently, as part of Martin Sepperly's election campaign, he conducted the swamp trolley that connected Newark Way, Springfield Ave, and Maplewood Ave business districts, and there was a lot of popular interest and use of that that we can continue forward. Maplewood has also done some jitneys for special events like the Porch Fest and Springfield Ave holiday events that we could try replicating again. And then on the next slide, we get into some other places in New Jersey that have started shuttles that serve the general public, not just commuters. So in Rutherford, they have a daytime loop that connects transit to their downtown and some shopping areas. And then I'm also familiar with Long Beach Island. They have a continuous shuttle up and down the island that runs afternoon into the night to give people access to dining and entertainment throughout all the towns on the island. And then Montclair, they discontinued their service during COVID, but they recently did a survey. They're working on having similar conversations as what we're having here to figure out what's the best way to bring back public transit within Montclair. And there's a lot of really interesting information in those survey results to look at. Next slide. Just give some background on the timeline, because this isn't just as I said, the people in this room and these conversations have been going on for a while. So last spring, the Maplewood Youth Advisory Committee first proposed the teen shuttle idea. And then I think that the older adult groups have also been asking for improvements to their transportation for a while. And then in the fall, there were a lot of parents saying, oh, we wish we had a teen shuttle. So then we started having meetings so that I could let people know about this new grant that could help fulfill those needs. And so then we've just been working on this a little bit at a time since then, and now we're looking to explore this further with the townships. So, so far, South Orange is interested in continuing to explore this, and you know, we hope Maplewood will as well. And that concludes our presentation, unless you guys have anything else you want to add? No? Okay, well, thank you again, and let us know if you have questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we shared your information with our engineer, director of DPW. Have you seen their responses?
No.
Okay. We can get those to you.
I didn't see DPW. I only saw community services.
It was community services, yeah.
No, it was DPW.
Oh.
It was both.
Yeah.
Oh, it was both.
From DPW.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
That was in the email that.
As well as.
Mr. Weary sent.
And then we have yeah, that was, Mr. Weary sent out an email that, so we received.
Also sent stuff earlier today.
We received comments from DPW, which operates our jitneys now. So there were mostly operational questions, you know, how are we going to find drivers, things like that. What buses are we talking about? You know, we have jitney buses that are generally available between 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m., and 4:30 p.m. For weekdays, and we don't use them on weekends. And then there were comments from both the Village Alliance and the Springfield Avenue Partnership, both of which felt that they would have liked to have been more involved early on, to have some conversation. There were some of those comments were about can you really, you know, if you want to be inclusive of everyone, can you really do that in a reasonable time? You know, out there, that someone could be on a bus for an hour. And does that really make sense? And does it make sense to do loops versus direct, things like that? And then we got responses from community services today really describing our Maplewood Senior Bus, which is a dial-a-ride type thing. But did ask some questions. So we did what we said we would do. We would share this with folks. It's given us some questions to look at. I did take a look at the Rutherford shuttle bus that you referenced, and also, now Montclair hasn't started their bus, right? So they've done a questionnaire and all that. You know, the Rutherford bus is under 20 minutes, or 20 minutes or under. But it looks like it focuses a lot on going to and from ShopRite. So I guess one question I would have is, how you know, to include both towns is a lot of territory to cover. And is it almost too big to start off, or should it be each individual town focused and then somehow incorporating what we have with New Jersey Transit? Now with New Jersey Transit, we have, in Maplewood, we have the 25 and the 70 bus on Springfield Avenue. We have the train that takes, you know, the two towns, connects. And then in South Orange, you have the 37, the 137, which goes up Irvington Avenue. So has there been any analysis of how to build those existing transit operations in a shuttle proposal?
We have a member of the group who couldn't be here who's good at maps, who started thinking out some potential routes that aren't, you know, at a state to present right now. But, you know, there are some challenges because I think different people have different ideas about what would work best, but we can't do it all. And so that's where the survey would be helpful to really narrow down what to focus on first. So I think that's the answer that we have right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyone else have comments or questions?
I mean, I'd be interested in exploring this further. I think the questions are operational questions, right?
And cost.
Yeah, as opposed to, no, this is a bad idea. I don't think anyone feels that way. Does anyone feel that way?
Well, I like it for special events. I'm not convinced that it would be used on a regular basis. We did try something similar, I want to say 9 years ago, and it didn't get any usage because people are used to the convenience, and it's not that big a town. So I'm not convinced that it would be something that would be on a loop. And for seniors, they have the dial ride that's free, and we have the senior shuttle. So I mean, I'm not opposed to more. I love the idea for big events like Maple Woodstock or things like that to park elsewhere or have a loop and people go like the commuter jitney. I don't know that it would be something that people would use regularly because they love their independence so much. So to justify the cost. So it has to have a critical mass of usage in order to justify the thing. So.
But we could learn more about that from the community survey. And you're right, we did something back in 2018, I think, when I first got on the Township Committee. Through the SOMA 2 Towns for All Ages initiative, we created a loop, an exploratory, like a pilot, between Maplewood and South Orange. It went to the 2 downtowns, ShopRite, I think Michael's off Route 22 was included, and it ran only twice a week.
Okay.
And it wasn't a failure. I mean, some people used it, but it wasn't by any means well used, right? But there was a lot of reasons for that. Was there a survey that went into it? No. And the world has changed significantly since 2018, right? Like, I think that more people are thinking about microtransit at the local level and reducing traffic and the environmental cost of all that.
And that actually reminds me that I just read that Union County is starting to do microtransit, starting in the Westfield area.
Cool.
So that's another model that we can look at what they're doing.
Great.
Now, did you look at Isles? Isles, I-S-L-E-S in Trenton.
No, but is that like, I think I looked at the website briefly. Is that like another microtransit thing?
So, yeah, they have, I met this person at the Sustainable Jersey event, yeah. And he runs it, and he talks about it's both for adults and for kids. And there's a cost, and then there's a split. There's a split for folks who are on SNAP who receive SNAP benefits. They ride for free. Others pay. So it was a loop, and it was, I think, also demand response.
Okay, we can look at that too.
So, thank you for this presentation.
Very good.
Thank you for bringing up this, this idea. I think that there's a lot of good elements to it, and there's a lot of things to spin out. I certainly would be in favor of continuing the conversation. I would like to see what the survey says.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, where if the demand is there, and continue looking at what we have and trying pilots. I know I'm still waiting for a few numbers, and I also would like to see the DPW and some of this other information that you got. But I did see from Community Services that we have, so for our dial-a-ride for our seniors, they do about 137 rides per month. And then they also do like trips to different areas. And so looking at the fleet that we currently have, we have 3 electric jitneys, and then we have 3 older jitneys. And then we have a senior bus. So our jitneys do run from about 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., as the mayor said, but if we use our electric jitneys, then you have to also factor in the time to charge them. So if they're done at 9, they may need an hour or two of charging, I'm not sure. And then, before they start running at, I think it's at 5:22, they would need also time to charge after being used in the day. But then if you're looking at like from 11 o'clock to like 3 o'clock, obviously that's not going to affect the teens, and it's not going to help any of the seniors who already have the dial-a-ride during that time. So then what we'd be looking for, and then also I would mention that during the summer, a lot of these shuttle buses are used for camps, like take our kids to the pool and whatnot, and then also for these senior trips. So I think we probably would be looking for, if we wanted to focus on evenings and weekends, either another bus or, expanding our senior shuttle, or, if we feel like the seniors need more, because the senior shuttle is for seniors and the disabled community.
Yep.
So if we felt like there was more of a need, for those individuals, like expanding that could be a way. And I really like, as Committeewoman Adams said, using it more for community events. I was speaking to some business owners on Springfield Avenue, actually, about doing more, on Small Business Saturday and holiday markets, like this one that, was done in 2023, doing more, from the train to Springfield and all up and down Springfield, like that kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of potential here and a lot of things we can do. I definitely want to keep talking, and I definitely want to do this survey. I think it's exciting.
Yeah, I would.
So my thought, I just had a few questions. Would this run as often as, maybe, let me just put it out there, 24 hours or 7 hours a day? Is it 7 days a week? Your thoughts on how you do it, and accessibility for people with mobility issues, right? Limitations. What streets are you going to put it on? How are you going to determine where the streets that are most used? Who's going to come to those corners? Where are you going to pick them up from? Where are you going to take them? What's the drop-off point? And is it benefiting the certain group of people, just seniors, or or young children? What's the target market and the mission? Who are we targeting? Because kids might use it more, our seniors might use it more, or people who might be just going to the supermarkets on Saturdays and Sundays who don't have cars. Are we making it accessible to families who are under the limitations in terms of financing? Are we giving the discounts like the mayor was talking about? That we're going to put that in? And I like what Committeewoman said, Nancy Adams said about possibly testing it during the times we have those big events, right? And then, but will it be a true test if it's the big events, or are we just doing it just for the big events? And then, what does a true test look like? Is it a limited test where we do for like 5 days or a week and see who uses it for 2 weeks, and then pull back and then take our survey from there?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea to do, like a 2-week test to figure out if it makes sense to do a bigger project. Because usually when we think of pilots, we think of something like for special events or something different. So that's definitely something to consider. And I think some of your questions are things that we hope the survey will answer. 24/7 sounds too ambitious for what we can accomplish here, and it is tricky because there's a lot of different needs and desires in our community. How do you balance that? And so maybe the answer is that different populations are more likely to use it at different times of the day, or different routes are more popular with certain populations. But we definitely want, the goal will be for it to be accessible to everyone.
I have one last question. And are we looking at the demographics of the people we're actually offering this to, right? So we in this this nice neighborhood where people make a little more money, so the accessibility might not be the needs of other population where their most needs, where they need to get on a shuttle bus, and if it's free, they can use that or reduce reduced pricing. So what our needs are here in Maplewood, what are our needs? Do we have a lot of families who would take the shuttle bus to go to the supermarket, or will our kids be using it to go visit their friends, you know, that sort of thing? So what in this neighborhood, what are our needs here? I think that's what we need to dig more into. Then we can really target why we need it.
Yeah, adding on that, the grant seemed to say that transportation disadvantaged, like was the focus. So I'd be interested in more on that.
Yeah, like they prioritize that population. Yeah.
Kind of restricted to that.
So as far as the questionnaire, what do you need anything from us on that? So you've gotten some comments from people.
You know, I think you said that there were comments you could forward to us, so then we can look at that and see if there's more back and forth.
Okay. So I think this is probably going to end up being looked at by a couple different subcommittees, because we have recreation and seniors in our Health and Human Services Subcommittee, and then we have our jitneys in the Engineering Public Works. So I think both of those will take a look. We'll share these comments that Mr. Weary sent us with you. The other thing that came up today with Ms. Mancuso's comments was the potential liability for young people using it. Is there going to be an age cutoff? You know, how do you know, is there any responsibility after someone gets on and off the jitney?
Consent, child consent from their parents.
It'd be pretty hard to have
The lawyers will get involved,
Yes.
right?
That's the lawyers are the ones who know the answer to
Yes,
that.
we ruin everything. Yes.
You know, when you think about transit, it's a public conveyance, and even the jitneys in Atlantic City, they're public conveyances. So the responsibility is just when you're on that public conveyance. The pre and post time is not anybody's responsibility other than your own or you on behalf of your children. But so when we talk about providing transportation for kids, what are we talking about? That would be important to know.
You know, I think some people want the middle schoolers to have access to go travel alone, and definitely high schoolers want it, but I think it will ultimately come down to what the towns are comfortable with in terms of setting the age limit, the age minimum.
Well, I think it's also going to have to be that the SOMA working group's going to have to narrow this stuff down too. If you just throw a bunch of spaghetti at us, nothing's going to happen. I'm serious, nothing's going to happen. If you say, here's the 5 things that we can make happen, and here is, we're not going to do everything. You kind of said it before, you know, and what's the ambition here? I think you're going to have to come back to us and say, here's what it is. I will tell you, the most important thing for us with our jitneys is they have to be accessible in the early morning and in the evening. And right now, we don't use them during the day, but that's not a bad thing, because the more you use them, the more susceptible they are to accidents, wear and tear. And we see the difficulty transit has in keeping their fleet on the streets or on the rails for 24 hours a day. So right now we operate 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, 8 hours a day. We start moving that to 16 hours a day. That's a doubling of our taxing our infrastructure and equipment. So that, you know, that might speak to the third party, the bus. You know, I think some of the grant stuff is that we have to pick it up after a couple of years. So, I think there's a lot more that we have to figure out.
Yeah, there's a lot to think.
Yes,
It's complicated, to say the least.
Yes.
I mean, I worked when I was running the parking authority in South Orange years ago, I developed the Jitney program for South Orange, and just figuring out the routes and the timing and coordinating that with the train schedule, and like there's just a lot of moving parts, and that's just a commuter jitney. So you know, there's a lot for you to think about, so, but thank you for the work you're putting into it now. But I agree with the mayor, probably should limit the scope, at least. I think that's the only way it'll be workable.
And I was going to add also, in terms of limiting the scope, kind of what the mayor mentioned earlier, it might be worth also looking at it from Maplewood and South Orange, because while we are two towns in one beautiful community, it can be a little complicated when you try and figure out which buses do we use, whose staff do we use. You know, South Orange has, we have a bigger population and more square footage than South Orange does. So how do you make it equal? Are we splitting it down the middle? Is it not split? It can get kind of complicated. So, you know, one way to look at it might be like like the Rutherford shuttle, for example, has 2 loops. And so like you could have South Orange doing one loop and Maplewood doing another loop, and they overlap.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you also factor in like the bus lines and the train, you might be able to work together for an overall transit plan that is coordinated and gets you to different places. But then Maplewood can do its one and South Orange can do its loop, but in a coordinated way. So just something to consider as well.
Yeah, I think coordination is key, because we wouldn't want, you know, one town to be like, oh, never mind, and then so then half of the population is like, oh, now we can't use that loop anymore to connect to the other one. You know, more shared services can be tricky to figure out, but it is very worthwhile.
So what is the direction we're giving this working group?
So I think they should move forward with the questionnaire. I think that would be helpful. And I think we should take a look at it. I know we have some residents who have made comments.
You should also not just have it online, it should be printed for some people who don't have access. Or maybe at the libraries.
Oh yeah, the library is a good idea. Yeah, because a lot of people go there.
So the idea is to print the presentation to put in the libraries, is that what?
No, the questionnaire.
The questionnaire.
Yes, of course we would do that, yeah.
Survey.
Yeah. We already started thinking about all different ways to distribute it.
We can do at the pool as well. We have lots of activities this year where their parents will be present.
Yeah, we can help disseminate the questionnaire. I think you have to come down. I think it's first of all, it's a pretty large questionnaire.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to, I think, narrow it down.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, you know, factor that in and then get it out there. And we can help figure out how to get it out there with you.
It's exciting. Well done.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
All right, we're gonna move to our Board of Health meeting.
Okay. Huh? It's hot, right? I'll open this window maybe.
Warm up. I brought my fan.
Okay. Okay, pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231 of Public Laws of New Jersey, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2026 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2025, and by filing the said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Adams?
Here.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Here.
Ms. Herman?
Here.
Mr. Daffis?
Present.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the Board of Health has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas desire of the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provisions of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be resolved by the Maplewood Board of Health of the Township of Maplewood that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the Board of Health by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, Those limit the public to the observation of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes. Thank you, Township Clerk. I move approval of the BOH meeting minutes from our last meeting on May 5th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes. Thank you. And I turn it over to our Health Officer, Candace Davenport. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Moving on to our first slide to talk about our Community Food Access Plus program, which started on May 18th. This replaces and transitions the community fridge over to our location at 129 Boyden Avenue. To give you some updates on that, we've had 3 weeks of it now, going into our third week. And the first week we had, and the first 2 weeks, we've had about 30 to 40 families each day coming. So it's a lot of households, and they keep coming, and we hope they do. And it's a very successful program thus far. The positive feedback has been that they like it. They like it indoors. The people who were going to the community fridge are frequent users of the Community Food Access Plus program, and their demeanor is completely changed. They're just like more positive about it. They're kinder. They take turns. It's very civilized, so we're really happy with that. We are working on the donation system with UCC, so more to come on that. We know that residents are eager to know more about how to donate, and we do have a system, but we want to improve that system for our residents and appreciate their generosity. Next slide moves on to our free summer meals program, which is starting on June 22nd to August 14th. We'll be offering breakfast from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and lunches from 11:30 to 1 p.m. From 11:30 to 1:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. It's open to children and teens 18 and under. It's a sit and eat program run through the New Jersey Department of Agriculture, and we are working with our neighboring township of Irvington as one of their satellites. So there is a QR code there that people can use to access the application so that they can sign up for free meals. Going on to our next slide, which is our farmers market, which started this week on Monday. We also, on June 1st, had our first free health screenings. These health screenings will be available every first Monday of the month up until October, from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Services offered are blood pressure, glucose, A1C testing, that's for glucose, cholesterol, nutrition, and health education. All of this is free and available. $1,500 cases of Lyme disease were reported in New Jersey, and New Jersey is one of the leading states in the nation for tick-borne disease incidents. So please do look over some of this information, especially if you're going to be outdoors and with pets. Next slide, we're going to talk about FIFA. FIFA is coming up in T-minus 7 days, June 11th to July 19th. We're very excited about FIFA. I know it's a lot of excitement around the country and around the state and even in our county. From a public health perspective, we're looking at this from a few issues. One is food safety, because there's going to be a lot of food vendors all around for all these events, and communicable and infectious diseases as we have international travel. So we just advise people to, we have some guidances on the State Health Department website on what to do if you feel sick. But also just on the Department of Transportation, they have some information on transit and how there's going to be lots of traffic to and from areas where it's going to be, the matches are going to be shown. The next slide just talks about more of the information about where the matches are going to be held. So it's going to be a very busy time, especially in Essex County, which is right in the middle of that thoroughfare. Next slide goes on to our nursing and health screenings update. For the month of June, we had 13 diseases investigated by our public health nursing nurse. She also conducted 12 senior citizens health screenings, and we are still finishing up our school immunization audits.
On to the next slide. On May 27th, we had our Maplewood Blood Drive. We want to say a big thank you to the Hilton Neighborhood Association and Vitalint for helping us with this. We were able to receive 10 people who donated blood, and each donation, each pint saves 3 lives. So we want to thank you to everyone who donated. Just a highlight on the next slide of the free adult health screenings that we do. We will be, just a highlight, in July, we'll be having our first free adult health screening in our location at 129 Boyden Avenue to coincide with our free food distribution programs on Thursday afternoon. So we'll be doing that once a month. On to the next slide. If anyone is following the hantavirus issues that were related to the cruise ship on international travel, just want to let everyone know that hantavirus is a very rare disease that is transmitted from rodents and mice. However, in this situation with the cruise ship and international travel, there is a strain from South America that is a hantavirus strain that is communicable from person to person, which was why people were monitoring the people who were coming off of that cruise ship. This is a very low risk to New Jerseyans, but in case anyone was still interested in that, we wanted to post that up there. The next slide talks about the measles. Just want to let people know that the biggest thing that we want to highlight is that there are currently 1,983 cases of measles in the United States. This is significant because it is out of control. 30 new outbreaks were reported in 2026. 93% of those confirmed cases are outbreak related. So just want to let people know to please, please, please look at your immunization records and vaccinate your children as well as yourselves. Moving on, while we are slowing down on the respiratory diseases, that's what we want to let people know about. On the next slide is if you've made a mixtape, it's time to get vaccinated against shingles. The reason why I bring this up is because I recently had shingles. And I just want to let everyone know that age 50, you should get 2 doses of the shingles vaccine. It prevents the most common complication of shingles, which is severe pain in the area where the shingles rash occurred, which is called post-herpetic neuralgia. And we really want everyone to protect yourselves from that because it really was, no joke, painful. So, you know, as we get older, our immune system goes down, but it also goes down because of stress. So on the next slide, I just want to show you that it's not
is that cassette tape there? Because if you use the cassette tape, you probably need it.
Yes.
Correct.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes. If you remember one of those, it's time to get
It's time
updated.
to get a shingles vaccine. So thanks to the CDC for that little advertisement. But I just want to show you on the next slide that it's not just 50 and over. You know, the incidence gets higher as you get older, but you will notice that in the 30s and sometimes even in the 20s, it's not on here, but even in our lower ages, those who have immunocompromised or who are stressed, you know, I tell people about my experience and I keep finding more and more people who are saying, I too have had shingles and I was 21, I was 17. So we really do have to take better care of ourselves, and some of that is the shingles vaccine, which is available to all of us 50 and over. Next slide. Okay, so what I want to highlight for environmental health is the humongous number of temporary events, which our environmental health inspector, Macon Smith, you made note of it over here. Temporary events is Mayfest as well as the Baker Street Flea. Both of those occurred in one weekend, and there were 52 vendors that he had to look at. So there's a resolution on tonight for a supplemental seasonal REHS to assist with our weekend events. These are big events. We're proud of our events. A lot of people want to participate, and it does take a lot of manpower from the health department side for inspections. So just want to highlight that when we are doing our outdoor events and our activities, we are busy. Next slide goes into our animal control update. This is similar to other months of 27 calls. Most of them is wildlife. But again, I do want to highlight the number of strays and stray impoundment that occurs. Just to remind everyone that your dog and cat licenses help to pay for a lot of these services to help the most needy of us, or the animals. They're injured. It also pays for bat trapping as well as testing. So please, if you have a dog or cat, please help out the town and get licensed, because that money does help us to pay for these services. On to the next slide is our social services and mental health. On the next slide, you'll see that for the month of May, our crisis social workers are continuing to be busy with 33 cases for the month of May. And then we end our slides with our social services with CSP&J. This is their 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. service on Saturdays at the Hilton Library to assist people with social security cards and health insurance. And then our last slide, and employment assistance. And our last slide is always the make the right call to let people know that they can call these numbers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for assistance. Thank you.
That's a lot. You're busy.
It was a lot.
Thank you for that great
You got it.
report. I have a couple questions myself, and then I'll open it up to my colleagues and then to the public. So Community Food Access Plus, the new program, right? You said we've served in the 3 weeks, you're looking at about 30 to 40 individuals each day.
Each of those days, yes.
Each
of
of
the
those
2 days.
So
yep.
that's times 2, about 80 a week. That's definitely more than before at the food shed on Springfield Avenue, right?
Yeah, and some of those are repeats.
Sure.
But they keep adding, each week keeps getting more and more. So just like on Monday, we had 38 households. So it is a steady cadence of households.
That's terrific. So the word is getting out there that
Yes.
the shed has moved and
Yes.
that it's this new and improved model.
Yes.
That's great.
We also have Haitian, Creole, and Spanish speakers among our staff, so that also helps a lot.
Terrific. Now, you did mention, and I do want to note that, we have a lot of folks who are very generous, the Friends of the Fridge, the original fridge, and others who want to better understand how they can donate.
Yes.
So how are we doing in establishing a process that communicates that and makes it convenient for people to do that?
Right. So I was just on the phone with UCC today. Currently, we are telling people to contact UCC. We have a contact there, Maria Torres, who will be the point person, and she can coordinate the distribution and pickups. So we're looking at picking up from people, but ideally we'd like to pick up in one location and have it be bulk instead of like I have one bag of food versus like 4 cans of food. That makes it very difficult and not economical to schedule pickups. So they did try that. That wasn't really working very well. So we're looking at identifying a place or a partner where we can like drop off food and pick that up. So.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that scheduling pickups didn't work out. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound sustainable or efficient.
Yeah, we're trying to, be accommodating, but I think that there's some things that we can do to make it convenient for our residents to donate, but also be efficient.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think those who are committed to, being generous donors here are happy to stop by and drop off. So why can't we establish a drop-off time and/or zone at 129?
That's something that we're talking about, that maybe people can drop off when UCC is there so that the distribution is immediate. So as soon as you donate, they're already distributing it out amongst the food that's already there.
And it can be inspected to ensure that
Correct.
it is of nutritional quality and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the answer.
Yeah, so that's what I have to work out with UCC and make sure that they're okay with accepting the food at that time, because they're busy unloading food and then distributing at the same time and coordinating donations. Just one more thing that we have to coordinate.
Okay, great. 2 more things from me, I promise, only, and then I'll open it up. I would like us to have a township official take on some of the public communication that is occurring in social media threads about our moving the shed and why and how you can go get food now in the process, as opposed to having UCC do it. Because I've noticed, I've been monitoring those threads. I understand that UCC jumped right in. They're very eager to be, and they're a great partner to us, and we value their partnership exceedingly. But I oftentimes they're responding on behalf of the township, and that's not a good practice.
Okay.
So we should figure out with administration what that looks like and who that person is.
Well, I have to say, I think the UCC has done a really good job in answering questions.
I disagree.
Okay, I've been looking on these threads, and I thought they've been answering them and doing a really great job. I don't think that we have a practice.
They're answering questions that they don't know how to answer because they're questions about the township, not about their services.
Well, I do want to just pull back that we don't have a practice of having an official answer. We don't answer things on social media. So if people want to report a concern on our website or send an email, that might be a better way, because I mean, I don't think we can have a communications person check all social media to make sure all questions are answered.
No, I'm not suggesting that, but you've seen some of the stuff that's being talked about, right? Or your team has.
My team has, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about if we audit the questions that are coming up and we put out a frequently asked question response?
Love that.
Okay.
And this way we're not going back and forth on social media, but we have our means of putting it out through our distribution network, and we can say, here are the questions we are receiving, here are the answers to those questions. And if you have other questions, please email us and we'll respond, and we'll make them public.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And then lastly, a matter of public health and public safety. You mentioned the World Cup.
Yes.
And one of our awesome residents who's with us tonight, who's a tremendous anti-human trafficking advocate, Ms. Bobrow, who's still awake tonight. Thank you. We're not boring you. What information can we put out there that says, if you are, please call this number, just to raise awareness for possible victims and or the general public who may notice something?
That's a good question. So what I can do is, the reason why I brought up FIFA is because it's a big conversation not only with the county, but also the state level with the OEM. So I can reach out to our county Office of Public Health Management and see what they have.
They do have some stuff.
They do have
They
some
do
stuff,
have stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So we can
And
definitely
the
help to
sheriff
put it
and the
out there.
state police, they have all that.
Yes.
Great.
So we can share that with the township and put it on our website
And maybe in some spots in town.
in town.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for me. I open it up to my colleagues. Any questions?
I have none.
Can we, I know our police officers got trained on the human trafficking when Ms. Barbara brought it to our attention. So she gave us some information that we use and shared with our police department, and they got some training on the human trafficking. Thank you for that. And if we can share that with our young adults, youth nets, the schools, maybe the social workers, our young adults know what human trafficking is, and just sort of educate them before, or, I mean, we should always have them well abreast of what's happening, not only during the FIFA or any soccer tournament, but all the time they should know these resources are there. So if we could just share that with the schools, that'd be great. And I think the last question I had is, there's some people who pick up food or have food after church and have donated in the past and took to the food shed. And my concern is those particular days may not fall within the days that you're arranging, right? Should we just point them to different shelters? Because I know Turning Point Shelter takes food on Sundays, or if it's cooked, they have a kitchen to take food. So should we redirect them to other shelters? And would you have some recommendations for them?
Yeah, until we can work out something with UCC, yes, I would definitely tell people if they have food, the more immediately we can get food, the fresher, the better to people. So until we can work out a better system of collecting that food and distribute it on Mondays and Thursdays. Sometimes there's food that's available Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and the weekend. So the more people and partnerships that we can share with, the better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I also, so in response to your question about the human trafficking training, I just wanted to share, this was something that we discussed in the public safety meeting, that our police force did attend in April, the 2026 Human Trafficking Conference. Detective and investigative training was held to identify signs and resources for survivors. So this is something that we did discuss, and the police department is aware of this heightened risk with FIFA coming in, and they have prepared and have this training.
Thank you.
that
I
they
was
did.
actually thanking Ms. Barbara because she brought it to our attention, and thanking her for that information which was passed to the police department. So I would like to give her the credit for that. Thank you.
We can work with the police department and get that information out as well.
Any other questions or comments from the Township Committee? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to open it up to the public. Are there members of the public who wish to? Yes, please.
I'd like to share with you and with everyone the New Jersey Coalition. I'm barely awake. It was a long election day yesterday. The New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking has many resources, and they can be found at the website safer, SAFERNJ.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the public who wishes to address the Board of Health, who's here with us in person? Seeing none, we'll go online. Mr. Wary?
If anyone on Zoom would like to address the Board of Health, please raise your hand now. I see no hands.
Okay, then we'll close the public comment period, and I move that we adjourn and meet again on Tuesday, July 7th.
Thank you.
Ms. Adams? Yes. Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to now move to the public hearing on the additional municipal budget amendment for 2026.
Mayor, I move we go past 9:30. There's no way we're getting done before then.
Is there a
Yes, we'll do
second?
it.
Second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
I'll now be calling the roll, Mayor, for this portion of the budget meeting. Ms. Adams?
Here.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Present.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Here.
Let the record show that all 5 members of the governing body are present. Mayor, this is a time for the public hearing on the additional municipal budget amendment for 2026. The amendment was advertised as required, together with notice of hearing for this time. Printed copies have been made available to the public, and a supply is here, right on this table, for anyone present that is desiring a copy.
If anyone would like to get a copy of the budget amendment, you can come on up and pick it up. And with that, I'm going to open the hearing for the budget amendment. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak on the budget amendment? Seeing no one, is there anyone online?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak on the budget amendment, please raise your hand. I see no hands.
Committee Member Adams, I'd like you to move that we close the hearing.
Mayor, I move we close the hearing.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes. I would ask the clerk read section 2, pages 41 and 42.
Yes, Mayor. Section 2, upon adoption for year 2026, Be it resolved by the committee persons of the Township of Maplewood, County of Essex, that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation of the purposes stated in the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $41,824,711 for municipal purposes. And item D is $623,255 even for open space, recreation, farmland, and historic preservation trust fund levy. And F, which is item 5, municipal tax, municipal minimum library tax, $2,146,232. And general surplus, $2,900,497. Miscellaneous revenues anticipated, $15,384,080 even. Receipts from delinquent taxes, $1,135,645 even. And amount to be raised by taxation for municipal purposes, $41,824,711 even. Amount to be raised by taxation minimum library tax, $2,146,232 even. And amount to be raised by taxation minimum library tax, $63,391,165 even. Summary of appropriations. Operations including contingent, $28,438,362 even. Deferred charges, statutory expenditures, municipal, $6,208,551 even. Excluded from caps, operations, total appropriations excluded from caps, $17,685,083 even. Municipal debt service, $8,597,687 even. Deferred charges municipal, $761,482. Reserve for uncollected taxes, $1,700,000 even. And total appropriations, $63,391,165 even. It's also certified that within the budget is a true copy of the budget finally adopted by resolution of the governing body on the 3rd day of June. It's further certified that each item of revenue and appropriation is set forth in the same amount and by the same title as appeared in the 2026 approved budget, and all amendments therefore, if any, have been previously approved by the Director of Local Government Services.
Deputy Mayor Herman, would you move the resolution that was just read?
I move resolution 209-26.
No, just the amendment.
Sorry. I move the budget amendment that was just read.
Is there-
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, okay, and Committee Woman Collins Colding, can we get a motion on 20926?
Mr. Mayor, I move the adoption of this resolution number 209-26.
Second.
And this is a resolution to adopt the 2026 municipal budget. Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams? Yes. Ms. Collins Colding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes. Can we have an ordinance on final passage?
Yes, Mayor. On final passage, ordinance number 4006-26, is an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 19 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Community Board on Police. This ordinance will amend and supplement Chapter 19 of the Township Code to clarify the membership of the Community Board on Police and provide further detail as to the membership and functions of the Civilian Review Board, which is a subcommittee thereof.
Thank you. This ordinance has been published on the Township website, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak on this ordinance, which makes some changes to the Community Board on Police? Seeing no one, is there anyone online?
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand. I see no hands.
Okay, so we'll close the hearing. Can we get a motion?
I move this ordinance to be adopted as a whole, and the clerk be directed to post the same as a passed ordinance on the Township's website and Town Hall Bulletin Board according to law.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams? Yes. Ms. Collins Spaulding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, we have introduction of 3 ordinances.
Yes, introduction of ordinances, all number 13, 13A. Ordinance number 4007-26 is an ordinance amending Chapter 237, Article 1 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood with respect to design criteria in the Maplewood Village Special Improvement District.
Do we get a motion?
Certainly, Mayor. I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading and its publication according to law on the Township's website and Town Hall Bulletin Board, and a hearing to be held on June 16th.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Collins Spaulding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, we have another ordinance on introduction.
Yes, Mayor, it's 13B. Ordinance number 4008-26 is an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 257 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Vehicles and Traffic with respect to right turn on red restrictions.
I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading and its publication according to law on the Township's website and Town Hall Bulletin Board, and a hearing to be held on June 16.
I second the motion.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams?
No.
Ms. Collins Spaulding? Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Next, 13C, Mayor, ordinance number 409-26 is an ordinance to amend classification of employment positions within the Township of Maplewood and to establish salary ranges for employees.
I move the passage of this ordinance on the first reading and its publication according to the law to the Township's website, Town Hall Bulletin Board, and a hearing to be held on June 16, 2026.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams? Ms. Collins Spaulding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes. Okay, let's go to administrative reports. Mr. Weary.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to discuss 2 items, resolutions on the agenda tonight. Resolution number 206-26, which is award of a contract for engineering services for the Oakland Road Pilot Program to Dynamic Traffic. And the next resolution, 211-26, award of a contract also to Dynamic Traffic for supplemental traffic engineering services for Prospect Street corridor. Both of these came out of conversations we've had on the Prospect Street improvements. 206-26 specifically is for the Oakland Road Pilot Program, where it has been proposed that no left turns be permitted out of Oakland Road. As part of discussions we've had with the public, there was an interest in understanding, both from the public and the Township Committee, on how that restriction would impact traffic on surrounding roadways, especially given the traffic that travels between Valley and Prospect, and also with CHS in the area and a lot of school traffic going through there, how it would impact that. So Dynamic has proposed to as part of that traffic study, to perform traffic counts at 9 intersections in that area. They would do field visits and also provide us with a technical memorandum that describes both the current condition before the trial of what the traffic counts are and turning movements are, and then what the traffic counts and turning movements are with this pilot program in effect. So that's one resolution that the township engineer has recommended move forward. The second one, and the one that I'll ask for changes on, is for the actual design services of the striping and improvement plan that we would use to go out to bid. I think that piece of this resolution is premature, and in my discussion with the engineer, he agrees. I believe there's an interest of the Township Committee to discuss the improvements along the Prospect Street corridor at the meeting on the 16th, the next Township Committee meeting. And so the engineer thought it wise to hold that portion of this award for the 16th meeting. There is a portion of this resolution and this award which we would like to move forward, and it's proposed that we combine it with the first resolution. So that portion is for a supplemental traffic and parking data collection, traffic signal timing and directive evaluation, and some reimbursable costs. So specifically, the supplemental traffic and parking, there were some areas along Prospect Street where the public had wanted more information on counts, specifically around the Tuscan School and a few other intersections where we thought that maybe the initial data collection wasn't representative of what happens throughout the day in those areas. So we want to take another look at that. The second, the traffic signal timing, is specific to Springfield Avenue and Prospect, where there's a proposal to reduce the southbound across Springfield, those lanes from 3 lanes to 2 lanes to accommodate a bike lane. And there's a question of how that impacts the traffic movement, whether it be having a straight and right turn lane or a straight and left turn lane there. And so they want to look at that as well. So I, in discussions with the engineer, would submit to the Township Committee that we remove Resolution 211-26, which is the resolution that includes the design element, and that we include the necessary portions with Resolution 206-26. The amount being moved would be $6,000, so it would increase the total contract award for Resolution 206-26 from $25,500 to $31,500.
Okay. Any questions on that?
That was a lot.
So, yeah, I just had a question. So with regard to the timing of the road pilot, with school ending, we have 1 more week of full days of school. Is that going to be able to be completed in time?
Yes, and the engineer is ready to do the first data collection this week, to start the implementation of the no left early next week, and do another data collection toward the end of next week. So that would be this week would be current existing conditions, and next week would be with the pilot in place. And all of the data that we're talking about here, so everything regarding the no left turn restriction, the additional parking analysis, and the analysis on turning movements for Springfield and Prospect, all of that information would be prepared and submitted to the Township Committee prior to your discussion at the June 16th meeting.
Okay, great. And then the second question is just, can you tell the public how the costs for each of these three things, just for transparency?
Yeah, so let's see. Of the 3 things, so I'll break it down. Supplemental traffic and parking data collection is $2,700. Traffic signal timing directive evaluation is $1,800. Reimbursables is $1,500. And then the piece specific to the no left turn movement, that was $25,500. The $25,500 is a high cost, and that's a result of the number of intersections in the area that we're going to be doing counts at. Again, that's 9 intersections in the area that we're looking for counts and turning movements.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
That's all, Mayor.
Anything else for Mr. Weary?
Then Then I would just, yeah, no, that's fine. I just want to make it clear to the clerk that we would, if the Township Committee is in agreement, we would remove Resolution 211-26, and we would increase the contract award for Resolution 206-26 to $31,500.
Right. And that, we'll do that when we do the consent. Okay. Ms. Credidio?
No report, Mayor.
Okay. Ms. Fritzen?
I have a report.
Of course. You have 6 minutes.
First, I want to report on what everybody is anxious on the most, I would guess. Yesterday, we had a primary election. And I will say that locally, I'm going to announce the winners from the local level. Mr. DeLuca, congratulations, with 3,417 votes. And congratulations as well to Mr. Sullivan with 2,869 votes. And the third candidate was Martin Sepperly with 2,391 votes. So as you all know, it was a primary for 3 people running for 2 spots that have secured the primary and will be moving on to the November general election. So congratulations. 5,787 individuals voted on election day. 487 with early voting, 2,403 with mail-in ballots, and that totaled 8,677 votes cast. So average turnout across Maplewood is almost 25%, which is a very, very good number. The county average is about 11%.
11%.
Yes.
Wow.
So we have a lot of participation of our voters in Maplewood. So again, congratulations to Mr. DeLuca and Mr. Sullivan. And I have nothing but positive things to say about our new polling place at the library. It was well received by the poll workers, well received by the voters. And, you know, you can't do it alone. We had a lot of departments involved in making it perfect. And we wanted to take care of the parking, the facility. And again, I have absolutely no complaints. I went there twice, and the poll workers were excited to be there. And the library was also, the staff was very, very accommodating. So even though we missed all the ruckus in the lobby here for the first time, well, I'm saying that as a joke. The library was great, a great, great location. So again, I want to compliment my entire staff and those that help us with the results in the evening. It was really a flawless election day. Very, very few problems. And yeah, everybody worked hard and worked very long hours yesterday. Just touching on Memorial Day. As we all know, unfortunately, due to weather, we didn't have a parade, but we certainly did have a ceremony. And, you know, we worked real hard for the organization of the parade, and unfortunately, it didn't get to happen this year. But we were planning with weather, if we had to have the Memorial Day ceremony indoors in this room, and we did have it. Coming up, future events, we have Employee Appreciation Day and Veterans Day and Volunteer Day and a lot of extra township events. We've been having many, many event planning meetings. We had a planning meeting on Monday for 4 events. We had a planning meeting on Tuesday for the Big Pride event. And upcoming tomorrow is the flag raising. And on Friday, we have the gun violence awareness. So lots going on. And that is my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Fritzen? Thank you. We're going to go to elected officials. Deputy Mayor Herman.
You stole all my thunder. Okay, so I want to kick off my report tonight by saying, with some election congratulations. I think somebody up here might have run. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Congratulations, Mayor DeLuca, and also John Sullivan. I look forward to working with you both. And I also want to congratulate Martin separately for running a race that really highlighted the need for safer streets, which I know is a priority for myself and all of us up here. So I look forward to working more on that important issue. I want to say also a huge congratulations to my dear friend and our former colleague, Deb Engel, for winning the Democratic nomination for the Essex County Commission. I believe her win is historic, and she would be the first from Maplewood to serve on that commission. So honestly, it's about time. So very excited about that. I also want to say a big congratulations to my friend Christine McGrath, who I've known since we volunteered for Moms Demand Action. And a congratulations also to our District Commissioner, Dorian Thomas Murray, as well as the District Commissioner in South Orange, Medina Mohammed. These are some amazing ladies, and I can't wait for everyone in Maplewood to get to know them. And speaking of Moms Demand Action, yes, we do have a Wear Orange rally and proclamation this Friday. If you have driven by Town Hall or entered Town Hall this past week, you may have seen the orange ribbons adorning our columns and the trees in front of Town Hall. And this is part of the event to raise awareness and also to really, show this isn't just a day where we're really coming together. This is on this Friday. It's at 4:30. And for those who are attending the Lavender graduation at 5:30, it's 6 o'clock. This will be strictly 1 hour. It'll be 4:30 to 5:30. Wear your orange. We're going to have some orange ribbons if you want to put it on your lapel. We're going to have some signs. We're really going to come together, and we're going to have two speakers who are really important. One is a survivor, and then the other is our very own County Commissioner, Dorian Thomas Murray, who is, she lost a loved one to gun violence, and she will be sharing her story as well. So it's important that when we talk about gun violence prevention and gun safety, that we center the voices of those immediately affected. And so I'm really happy about the program that we have for this Friday. And we'll be reading, of course, our proclamation. And then we'll take a big orange picture so that in addition to having orange at our town hall and lighting it up with orange, we can show everyone everywhere that this town stands against gun violence. So very happy about that. And then also, I will be speaking at the Ethical Cultural Society on Sunday morning at 11 a.m.
Plug. Shameless plug.
Yes, shameless plug. You can come and hear me. So June actually is the exact center point of my 3-year term on the Township Committee. So the theme of my talk is going to be at my halfway point, what have I done and what am I doing next? So come out and you can hear that. And because no public comment from me would be complete without a mention of the pool, the pool is open. And so I want to thank all of the residents who have signed up for early bird rates. Those are unfortunately now over, but you can still sign up for the pool. We have season rates right now and also August only rates. And the swim lessons went on sale. And so you can sign up for that. And I also want to make sure that residents know, because there's been a little confusion about this, I want to make sure residents know that the pool is only open on the weekends until the Monday following Father's Day. There's no connection to Father's Day. I don't know why, but it's because the kids are in school. And so once there are lifeguards. And so once they're out of school, then we can open it Monday through Friday. So it's weekends only. Don't try and go to the pool during the week because you'll be very disappointed. I don't want any of your kids to be disappointed. So it's weekends only, but starting on Monday, June 22nd, it will be Monday through Friday. And that will be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you all there.
Thank you. Committeewoman Collins Colding.
Thank you. I'm going to make this short and sweet. On June 19th, we have the Juneteenth celebration at Durham Hidden House, and we also going to have another celebration right outside at the Maplewood Memorial Park. And we have lots of activities, arts and crafts. If you want to sharpen your coloring skills, you can come and join us, and there will be music, dance, and food. And if you go on our maplewoodartsandculture.org website, we have the list of all the events and activities that's going to happen. We have tons of activities. We have Songs of Resilience, the benefit of concert for immigrant aid and defense, and that's going to be on, let me get the right date, June 20th from 7 to 9. And this will be at the St. George's Episcopal Church in Maplewood, and we have lots of information there about that event. We have Cycle Beach Party. That's going to be June 19th and 20th at 7:30 at the Bergdorf Center. It's on our website. We also have, well, this is the library, but it's music for kids, and that's on our website too. Some wiggles and whistles and sings and strings, all for the kids at the library. We have a list of programs for the kids at the library. And as I go through this, we also have, the mayor had posted this today, so I'm just gonna steal this from him, the Maplewood Ukraine Day. And that's gonna be June 6th, Saturday at the new location in Woodland. There's gonna be food. And I think you have to, let me just make sure, it's free from 12 to 6. Live performances, and it's from 12 to 4, it's at 12 to 3 here. And I'm just gonna go to our summer camps. So the summer camps include, if you haven't already looked at the summer camps that we have available, we have tons of activities for the kids. We have the kid camp, we have the Maple Craft Camp, we have tennis camp, we have the mermaid camp, we have Scotty Donnie's dive camp, we have creative learning camp, math and reading and writing camp, summer slam basketball camp. I mean, we are just camped out this summer. So there's tons of camps, lots of activities. Please go on the website and, you know, just enjoy what Maplewood has to offer. It's a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. I did get a text yesterday, or I guess Monday, yesterday was a blur, from Congresswoman Mejia's office. They're asking about the possibility of having a table at Juneteenth, or maybe having her speak.
That'd be
Could I
great.
have her contact you?
Yeah, we can certainly do that. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Committeewoman Adams.
Thank you. I just wanted to update people on the project at DeHart Park. Engineering had a walkthrough today with the contractor. The mayor and I attended a pre-construction meeting last week, I think that was. And so everything's on track for that. Residents along Lombardi Place and Torrento Court will be notified of the pending work. Parking will need to be restricted on one side of each of those streets. Mobilization of equipment and vehicles will take place on or about Monday, June 22nd. The walking path and the field around the field will be remain substantially open to the public for what they use it for, mostly exercising. And they'll only be closed when trucks and equipment are getting on the field from the field to Torrento Court. The work involves the construction of the field as well as milling and repaving of the walking path around the field. So that's starting, so look for work at DeHart to start on June 22nd. Unfortunately for the Pride flag raising, I have a huge event for work tomorrow, so I will be working.
You'll be here in spirit.
Till
We know.
about 9 o'clock, yeah.
And there's plenty of opportunities for you to celebrate Pride the rest of the month.
Yeah, there you go. But I wanted to mention that. Also, I wanted to let the public know that bulk drop-off day is this Saturday at the DPW yard. Anybody know what time? I'm not sure. No? Pat? No? Me neither. Okay, so just look on the website. There's a bulk drop-off. Yeah. But what's exciting about this is we've been working with Vicki Arlene, one of our volunteers on Environmental Advisory Committee. She met with our contact at Bayshore, which is where the haulers take your curbside recycling to, and where DPW takes our recycling to, the regular recycling, mixed and fibers and all that stuff. But now we're going to be the second municipality in the town to accept what are called MRPs. That's mixed rigid plastics. So instead of landfilling your broken laundry baskets or your toys that are not playable anymore, or the pots that plants come into, all the plastics that are currently not recyclable can be brought to DPW starting on this at 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you. This coming Saturday at DPW. So that's bulk drop-off, so any big things you have that you can't put out at the curb, or, but definitely start thinking about your mixed rigid plastics that you have in your house. Instead of throwing them in the garbage, bring them to recycling at DPW. And lastly, congratulations to John Sullivan, to Victor Luca, and to Deb Engel on an exciting election day yesterday. That's all I have. Go next.
Go next.
Thank you. Committeeman Daffis.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to start my report by thanking our Township Clerk Fritzen, on yet another successful administration of another big election. There's been a lot of elections, right? Special primaries, special general, right, like we're heading into our fourth election this year alone. So thank you for that. And I'm glad to hear that our new polling site at the library, where I did visit a couple times yesterday, and the poll workers were really happy, as were the voters. Very visible location, a lot more space. I too want to salute Vic DeLuca, Mayor DeLuca, on his resounding reelection. Very strong campaign, very positive campaign. And clearly, voters respond to positive messaging focused on policy and change. And I also want to congratulate Committeeman-elect John Sullivan. Congratulations, John. I see you in the audience tonight, attending your first meeting on the other side of the fence, and a little bit closer to being up here with us soon enough. I can tell already by your body language that a huge weight has been lifted, and you already look a lot more official than you did before. So welcome aboard, and we look forward to working with you as well. And I too want to congratulate our former colleague, Committeewoman and Deputy Mayor Deb Engel, who made history, as Deputy Mayor Herman just stated. And again, Deb Engel ran a very positive campaign focused on speaking to voters, knocking on doors, tirelessly showing up at one event after another event. She really hustled, and she made this happen. And we are so grateful in Maplewood to have that direct county representation. So good for her. I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of opportunities for us to get our pride on as a community. I really welcome folks to come and join us tomorrow night to kick things off with our flag raising starting at 6 p.m. right out here. And then on Friday night, come and salute and congratulate our graduates at Columbia High School for our annual Lavender graduation. Starts at 6 p.m. I really want to have that auditorium filled with parents supporting our graduates. It's a really moving and powerful ceremony. The graduates will have fun at the Lavender Ball afterward at the Woodland. On Sunday morning, North Jersey Pride kicks off its month-long events for Pride with the North Jersey Pride Run. It's in South Orange. And you can find details on registration on their website. And North Jersey Pride Festival this year is on Sunday, June 14th. Really want folks to come out this year. I think we're going to have a lot more people than we usually do. We usually have around 10,000 people come to that thing between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. Every year. But because, as I stated earlier, we started our meeting tonight, that prides are being canceled in other communities. And we heard recently that out Montclair has rescheduled their pride for maybe sometime in August, if it happens. People are going to come to Maplewood, as they should, because we are proud here. And we've had successful event planning meetings that Township Clerk Fritzen has successfully coordinated throughout the different departments to ensure that we're ready for all the people coming to awesome Maplewood. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to the Community Board on Police. We just found out a couple days back that our proposed session at the League of Municipalities has been accepted. So we're going to start planning that fulsomely and getting that session together. We don't know what day it's going to be yet, but I will certainly report back about that. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to my nephew, Yanni Dafis, who's graduating tonight from Villanova. And I couldn't be there with him because I'm here serving the public. This is the sacrifice that comes with public service. I love doing it. I have no regrets. But please, folks out there, when you're campaigning, don't minimize what we do. This is really serious work, and it comes with a lot of family sacrifice. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a few items. Just on the Ukrainian Day, I received a text from Father Hott today that he's asking that we appear at 12 for the reading of his proclamation. So, I want to raise New Jersey transit problems. We're getting increased comments from our commuters in town about the unreliability of transit over the last couple of weeks. I know there was a fire, Amtrak. There's been some other problems, but and there's been a change in the train on the way here from New York. No longer 619 no longer stops in Maplewood. So I'm going to be reaching out to transit and trying to get a huddle up to see if we can get this resolved. Another problem we have is the post office. I had reached out to Senator Booker's office. We resolved the delivery problem, but now we're having a problem at our post office facility in Maplewood Village that there's only one person working there, and the times are limited, and when that person has to leave, the post office just closes.
Wow.
So we're going to be getting on that.
Call Trump's administration.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah.
And lastly, I just want to thank all the voters who voted for me and those who did not for coming out to vote. It's very important. You know, in this day, we talk about the importance of elections, and they're under attack. And we heard from our clerk that people vote a lot of different ways. They vote early, they vote by mail or drop box, and they vote on election day. So we had a good turnout in all three categories. I'm particularly happy to be serving you another 3 years past the rest of this year. And because we have a lot of stuff to do. And I'm looking forward to serving with John Sullivan. And it's always great to win elections. Always great to win elections. Having lost some, it's always better to win. Now we're going to move to our two discussion items, the Maplewood Immigrant Trust Act ordinance.
And before we do that, Mayor, if I may, just say congratulations on your win, and to John himself, and to our former Township Committee woman and Deputy Mayor, Deb Engel. So congratulations, and to all the candidates who put themselves out there.
Okay. We're still going to go back to the discussion item.
Yes.
Immigrant
Okay.
Trust Act ordinance.
All right, let's get into it. We have talked about this, and I'm glad that we're finally here. We're getting closer and closer to adopting an ordinance. So we've talked about this before. What we have before the Township Committee and what we've disseminated to the public before tonight's meeting is a draft ordinance called the Maplewood Immigrant Trust Act. It is our codifying officially as legislation here locally our existing welcoming sanctuary status or our welcoming status resolution. We wanted to strengthen our resolve in solidarity with our immigrant community, our residents here, those who are undocumented, underdocumented, those who are on their way to citizenship status in some way or another. And we wanted to do so by legislation as opposed to leaving it as the current resolution. This ordinance clarifies the township's policies regarding the use of municipal resources, in connection with federal civil immigration enforcement operations, to protect the rights and privacy of all residents, and to ensure compliance with state law, including the Attorney General's Immigrant Trust Directive, which has recently, as many know already, has been itself, the Attorney General's Immigrant Trust Directive, converted into a law that Governor Sherrill signed earlier, a couple months ago or so. So what does our ordinance say? As I mentioned, a lot of this that we have disseminated tonight for the public's feedback and for the Township Committee's discussion are provisions that were existing in our welcoming status. We've strengthened the language and our resolve, making it clear that our Maplewood Police Department is not going to be in the business of federal civil immigration enforcement, not to assist ICE or other civil immigration enforcement operations, but rather to focus on Maplewood residents' public safety, keeping the peace. And it goes into some detail. I want to say, before I get into some of the key provisions, the ordinance before us tonight is the work product that comes from a lot of different sources. I want to certainly acknowledge our partners in this. Everything that we do well, is a partnership with thought experts, with organizations that have experience in this, and with our community-based organizations and community partners, or advocates. In particular, for this ordinance, we worked very closely together with the SOMA Action Immigration Committee. We've heard already from a couple of members from that committee this evening and at our last meeting. We worked also with SOMA Justice. We worked with members of the Community Board on Police. We worked with other individual local immigrant rights, either legal representatives or other advocates. And as far as Township Committee members, although the entire Township Committee is supportive of our doing this, and we'll have our discussion in a moment, in particular, I want to mention that Deputy Mayor Malia Herman, as our Public Safety Chair, was part of this process along with me. And I definitely was informed personally by my lived experience as a first-generation American in doing this, and in my professional capacity working with immigrant rights groups such as Make the Road New Jersey and the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, among other groups. So, with that being said, and if I left anyone out, I apologize. I think I was being as inclusive as I can be here. What we're saying here is that, what are we saying? First of all, we define things. Some of the provisions here we copied from Montclair, who recently did the same thing last month. I think our definitions of what is a judicial order and what is a judicial warrant and why is that different from an administrative order or warrant are a lot stronger than Montclair's, if I may say so. But happy to look at it further. Happy to look at it further based on some feedback that we received. That's why we're doing this in public. Okay, so we start off with the use of township resources. We say very clearly that no township time, funds, resources, or property shall be used to enforce federal immigration laws unless required by law as further described in this chapter, right? Unless there's a judicial warrant, a validly issued judicial order or warrant. That means signed by an Article III judge or magistrate or state equivalent. We make that very clear here. Not an administrative order or some other resolution that ICE agents have tried to get over in communities, including here in Maplewood. There has to be a judicial order or judicial warrant. That we are in compliance with the new law here in New Jersey and all existing state attorney general directives and other laws, that our overriding mission, that Maplewood's police department overriding mission is to enforce local criminal laws and state laws and to protect the community it serves. not to administer federal immigration laws or assist federal immigration officials, including ICE. We say that several times in this ordinance. It's very clear and strong. The police department's mission is to provide fair, impartial, and professional police services to all individuals. Not only are they not going to participate in civil immigration enforcement operations, but they're also going to be impartial and professional in their service to the community, to all residents, regardless of their immigration or citizenship status. Benefits and services in Maplewood are not conditioned on citizenship status. We say that in 44C-6 pretty explicitly. Again, civil immigration enforcement operations are the responsibility of who? Of federal authorities, not Maplewood Police Department or the Township of Maplewood. We say very clearly here, and we adopted this language from strong, similar other immigrant trust laws like Montclair's, that the Township of Maplewood, its administrative departments, boards, committees, commissions, volunteers, and employees shall not expend any time, funds, or resources on facilitating civil immigration enforcement operations, nor in participating in civil immigration enforcement operations, except, again, where legally required to do so by a validly issued judicial warrant or judicial order, as I mentioned before. We are not to enter into any detainer agreements or renew or reauthorize any contract agreement or other arrangement with federal immigration authorities, including the Department of Homeland Security. That's explicit in 44C-8B1. That was really important for us to outline there. We're not going to honor immigration detainer requests or administrative warrants from ICE. We say that in 44C-8B3. I think it's important to put these on the record, Mayor, and I appreciate your patience here, because some people are not here, they're watching, or they will be watching later. And please work, computer. Okay. We talk about the regulation of township property and information. And we have a separate ordinance we're going to discuss separately about this to be a little more holistic, as I said earlier in my introductory comments, that the township retains the authority to regulate, manage, control, and restrict public spaces, township-owned buildings, facilities, vehicles, equipments, parks, parking areas, public libraries, and other township property. In other words, we reserve the right to say no ICE in these otherwise public areas. Who will have that authority? The business administrator, our township administrator. He's the administrator of the township. The business administrator shall review township facilities and ensure non-public areas are reasonably identified. And all of this is communicated to all of our township departments, directors, and all of our employees so that they comply with this. Any ICE or other similar agency officer seeking access to non-public areas of township properties with a validly issued judicial warrant or judicial order shall be required to provide such to the business administrator, to our township, to Mr. Wary and his team. And without a judicial or a judicial warrant, any request to enter these restricted areas of public property will be denied. We say that very explicitly. No exceptions. Okay, we talk about implementation and training, that within 90 days of enactment of this chapter, the Chief of Maplewood Police Department shall update current operational orders and training to effectuate the components of this new law. Within 7 days after enactment of this new law, the business administrator shall disseminate this to all of the township employees that he oversees and officials, and train accordingly as well. And we talk about here that we are not sharing, township employees are not to share any information on immigration or citizenship status with federal authorities. Again, the only exception there, not to federal authorities, is in the administration of any social services programs that require the collection of that information. But again, not to be shared with ICE or federal immigration officials. So that is the extent of this. Now, before we talk about some additional components to consider to add to this from our advocates, let's stop with what we have that we compiled after all of these weeks of putting this together and see what our discussion looks like. And I'm going to turn it over first to my partner here in this work product, to Deputy Mayor Herman. Then I'm going to go to Township Attorney Cordidio to add in, fill in, correct if I made any mistakes. And then I'm going to open it up to the rest of the Township Committee. Deputy Mayor Herman.
Thank you, Committeeman Daffis. Yeah, this is definitely, this has been the product of many meetings and going over a lot of the language in here. And what we want to do is take what the resolution says and put it in the ordinance and make it a lot stronger. And we were very specific about who designates, that we make it very clear that you have to have a judicial warrant or order, and then
Validly issued.
exactly.
Yes.
And then and what that looks like. And I just wanted to also share that this part of putting this ordinance together is we are also going to have a Q&A that will be available as well. The Q&A is something that we're working on and will come after the ordinance because we want to have a full discussion about the ordinance and its provisions and obviously these additional suggestions, and then also the public-private property elements, and then the Q&A, we have a draft of the Q&A so far, and it goes into, just explaining to residents, does Maplewood cooperate with immigration enforcement actions in town? Obviously not. What do people do when they see agents? We found out at our last meeting, what do people do if a car has been left behind? So we're trying to address a lot of different questions that we're hearing. Our state assemblyman, Chigozie Onema, had a Know Your Rights presentation where they have slides. And I thought a lot of his slides were really good. For example, when we talk about judicial warrant and judicial order, he shows photos of what that looks like and compares it to the ICE order that many of them show. And it can be very confusing. And if you're not seeing what the difference is, a lot of people don't know. And so I think what we're going to be looking to do is we're talk about the ordinance, talk about these two ordinances, and then flush out this Q&A and have some town hall meetings so that we can present the ordinances, present the Q&A, have some slides showing people, the differences on some of the things that we're talking about, and get this on our website. So, we want everyone to be able to, get their questions answered.
Yeah, and I think when you say Q&A, I think you mean FAQs, right? Like we just want to distill the ordinance into like bullet points so that in plain language so people can understand, okay, what are my rights as a resident? What happens if Maplewood PD is called to a situation when ICE is in town? What will they do? What will they not do? Who will they assist? Who won't they assist? What is their role there? And so on and so forth. And as you stated, Deputy Mayor, we intend, after we have those FAQs together, to have a town hall or two to engage with the public in those scenarios, along with all of our relevant stakeholders and public safety officials. So I'm going to turn it, thank you for that. I'm going to turn it over to Township Attorney Cordidio. Anything to add?
Just one thing, and I know this was very important to the working group in their discussions, in our section of the ordinance where we talk about the police department's mission and their overriding principles, we did specifically include a recital about the department's commitment to complying with Chapter Law 3, which was signed in March, that deals with identification of officers and accountability of officers, and that we also encourage all other law enforcement agencies to do the same.
Thank you for, yeah, I missed that one. Yep. Okay, so let's open it up for discussion. Township Committee members.
So I'm very comfortable with both of these ordinances. I actually think we should move them, and then we can go in and clean them up. I think waiting is wrong.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I think we should introduce this at the next meeting. And I know there are some recommendations.
I'm going to go into that in a
strengthen
minute.
it,
Yep.
And I think we can clean them up, but I think we got to get these on the books as soon as we can. And I'm comfortable with the language in both of them.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great, wonderful. So I'm going to move both of the ordinances, and just for the public's edification, I didn't really talk about the restricted access to township public property ordinance. Some of that language is already embedded in the immigrant trust ordinance. But again, the idea here is to allow us to restrict access to certain public spaces as necessary for public safety. Yes, it relates also to protecting our residents who are using our public facilities for recreation or for services, but also to ensure confidentiality and safety of information as well. And it was certainly inspired by the Immigrant Trust Act ordinance. And again, Township Attorney Credidio, did you want to add anything else about that ordinance?
No, I think that covers it. The two do work together. Obviously, the restriction of spaces, as you said, protects private information from constituents, protects our, adds another level of security for our employees, and goes beyond just the Immigrant Trust Act, aspect of it, but the two work together very nicely.
Yes, yes. I mean, for instance, we can't have some of these First Amendment journalists, barging into one of our social workers' offices as they're trying to assist someone in crisis. I mean, that's ridiculous. And that is happening in municipalities everywhere. So this is not just about ICE. We're trying to be, again, holistic. And I really want to salute our township attorney for, you championed that. You were like, think bigger, and let's have a separate ordinance for that while embedding this also in the Immigrant Trust Ordinance. Okay, fantastic. So the additional considerations that we received earlier today include the following. I'm going to go through them. I think some of them we already have in the ordinance, but let's get into it a little bit. All right, let's see if I could start with the easy ones first. Let's see if this thing will work. Okay, so requesting information prohibited. Again, that no municipal agent, employer, or agency may ask any individual or request information from any individual about their citizenship or immigration status, and I think that's already in our ordinance, and I ask Township Attorney Credidio to have a look, and if you think that we need to adopt this language as proposed to make it stronger or more clear, let's do it. They're not no municipal agent or employee is allowed to maintain or share confidential personal information. We already have that in several of our ordinances that deal with the services that we provide. But again, have a look, and if we need to add that, we can. Language access. This was very interesting, and this is very generous. If certain municipalities can do this, but I want to address this. So the language access recommendation says the following: Maplewood shall provide free language assistance services as required to limited English proficient individuals. Municipal agencies shall employ sufficient bilingual employees to provide services in languages spoken by at least 5% of the municipal population or 10,000 residents. So that's an interesting consideration. I do want to note, and maybe some of our advocates are not familiar, we currently provide the resources and the information and the services that we provide, pamphlets and the information we shared through our public health officer earlier. We do already in 3 languages: English, Spanish, and French Creole. We do those 3 languages because according to our census data, demographic data, household data, that represents the 3 main languages spoken in Maplewood, which is fast approaching 26,000 residents now. I think that complies or sort of satisfies this language access. You let us know if you think it doesn't, but I think it does, and I think that's even bigger than this recommendation here. Let's carry on. Required training that all city departments, this obviously came from a city ordinance, all cool, we're a township. All township departments, agencies, officers, employees, agents, including members of law enforcement, shall receive regular training regarding compliance with this ordinance. Of course, of course, of course. I think that does say that in our ordinance, but again, let's look at this additional language and add what we need to add to make it even clearer and stronger. Designation of point of contact. I think that's in there. The point of contact is Mr. Wary. And then we get into some interesting things here. Expand community partnership for community education, engagement, and empowerment. Hell yeah, I'm all about working with the community. This product is a community product. No one here on this dais owns this. We did it all together, and it's for all of us together. So, this idea that we should probably maybe add in there that we support community-based education efforts to ensure that residents are informed of their rights and of what we're doing here. Yes, we're going to put out the FAQs, we're going to do town halls, we're going to bring our assemblyman who's been doing a lot of Know Your Rights. We're going to bolster our Know Your Rights on the website, Township Administrator Wary. So yes, I think that satisfies that requirement as well. Then we get into one recommendation here, which is a little bit tricky for a township, legal support for immigrant residents. The purpose of this ordinance is to expand access to legal representation and support services for immigrant residents facing civil immigration detention or proceedings. Specifically, that means, in this recommendation, that the city, the township in our case, shall allocate funding subject to budget approval to support legal service providers offering representation and assistance in immigration matters. I think we should open this up for discussion. What I would say about this, as a lawyer that works with Make the Road, New Jersey, in my other professional capacity, I think we should definitely, in our Know Your Rights and resources for residents, connect people to the organizations that provide pro bono legal representation and to the local network of attorneys who have said, I raise my hand to help folks with their hearings, in the way that we connect people to other organizations that do other things that they're seeking assistance for. But I don't know about this idea of our actually funding these organizations and or helping them with their fundraising. There might be some limitations there for us, and I invite our township attorney, Ms. Credidio, to opine.
Unfortunately, I mean, I think I totally understand the good intention behind this recommendation, but unfortunately, New Jersey municipalities are limited in what we are allowed to raise taxes and expend funds for. We're not allowed to, unfortunately, diverge from sort of that universe of what we're allowed to spend money on. It differs from, so for example, with respect to municipal court, we pay for a public defender. That's a requirement of a municipality in New Jersey. It's a criminal action. It's not a civil action. It's a criminal action before our courts. It's a different question. Now, as far as connecting people or making information available about legal aid services, et cetera, that's certainly, as Mr. Zaff has said, consistent with what we do for other constituent services. There are clinics at both Rutgers Law School and Seton Hall Law School that provide services to this end. We could certainly collaborate with them or connect with them, but unfortunately, from a funding perspective, I think it's problematic.
Okay, so let's open it up to the Township Committee for discussion. One of the things that I discussed with Township Attorney Credidio when she and I had this conversation earlier today, right? We always prepare for these meetings. We do our homework, believe it or not. And she and I engaged in a back and forth, as we do, because we're lawyers and we love doing that. We're nerds. And I said, but wait a minute, we have this little trust fund. We call it Maplewood Cares. We invite private donations. We don't ask questions. It's discreet. And people are, write checks into this fund that we use to help people in crisis sometimes. Like what kinds of things? We help people who may have been displaced because of a fire in their home get set up in a hotel temporarily before they can make other more permanent arrangements. We help folks with other emergencies. It's called Maplewood Cares. So why couldn't we use the money in that trust fund, which isn't a lot, again, it's based on private donations, for this purpose?
So there's two reasons for that. The first is that we would still need to appropriate the funds. So even though they wouldn't be raised by taxation, we still have limitations on what we can appropriate funds for. And the second is that our powers are much stronger with respect to the kinds of things that we use the Maplewood Cares Fund for. Health, safety, welfare. Someone is, experiencing homelessness. Someone is, had a tragedy at their property. Rather than, it's funny, in the rest of the Immigrant Trust Act, right, we make this distinction between civil enforcement is, is ICE's domain, but unfortunately, the fact that it is a civil proceeding, really sort of limits the ability of the township to become involved on that level.
Okay. Township Committee members, your thoughts, comments, concerns about this in particular, this recommendation? I think we covered the other ones.
Well, I have two things to respond to. One is I don't think we're in a position to employ people for language assistance.
Right.
I think we have some people on staff, both on a civil staff and on a police staff.
Who are bilingual and...
Yeah, who are bilingual. But I also think that the courts have used technology to solve this. I just don't think we have the capacity to do that, nor do I think we have the capacity to fund legal
aid.
Legal aid. I think your recommendation that we provide referrals to legal aid, I think it's just, because oftentimes this is not a one-time deal.
Right.
It's an ongoing issue. And
especially right
for
now.
a long time.
Yeah.
And we just don't have that capacity to do that.
Yeah. Other comments?
I agree with that, and I think the Ms. Credidio is pretty clear on our limitations. Yeah.
I'm just wondering what the limitations I know is when you created that fund, you had some criterias with restrictions as to where you could spend that money, right? Did you leave any ample space that you could add on to that, or would you have to create a whole new fund in order to do that?
So we could amend the uses for the Maplewood Cares Trust Fund by ordinance, because it is part of the code. However, I still think we would have problems using any of the funds
Prior to, yes, we won't touch any funds prior to, but going forward, I think people might be very actively passionate about donating, but putting a line item for immigration purposes, and maybe that's the way you could separate the funding for families, shelters, and other things, and you have the accounting services divided into two funding. So one goes into the immigrant funding aid with limitations of how much we can fund individuals, because it gets very expensive. Immigration is very expensive. And what are the criteria that we will keep within the scope of? Is it just helping with, towing their cars from where they are, taking them home, paying the rent? What are the criteria that we'll set for that funding if we were to go forward?
So I think, Committeewoman, we're mixing a couple of concepts. So, for example, and business administrator can correct me, but so for example, if someone was experiencing homelessness or experiencing a a difficulty that is a health, safety, welfare difficulty that is something that we would ordinarily fund through Maplewood Cares, that was perhaps brought about, in relationship to their involvement with the federal immigration system. I think that's different than us being able to specifically fund immigration-related issues and legal services.
But, okay.
Okay.
I understand that, right? But if we're just putting out a call to the community, like we do now, like every so often we remind people, hey, we have this little CARES fund, and we know that people out there care about their neighbors. We accept donations. We can't fundraise for it, obviously. Can some of that money be used for this purpose? Because then we're not doing an appropriation ourselves.
Well, we still are appropriating funds, right? When we authorize the expenditure of any money held by the town,
That's an appropriation.
whether in a trust fund or otherwise,
That's
we're
an
still
appropriation.
appropriating the funds.
Got it. Can you look into that a little bit further? Are you 100% sure right here, right now about this?
Unfortunately,
You are.
I'm confident about this one.
You
Okay.
said about doing an ordinance. Is that a possibility to tweak the ordinance a little bit to put that language in there that will allow us to do some things? And what if, I just want to ask this last question. If we were to fund a family that, let's say the father got picked up and they were back on rent, would we use some of that funding from that particular, because we're talking about shelter, right? Is that different because it's immigration related, or are you helping a family?
No, we
So
can
I
help.
think that was what I was trying inartfully
Yeah.
to say, is that the things for which we usually use the funds, regardless of why the family is experiencing that particular kind of distress, is one thing. Specifying it for immigration-related causes or legal services is a separate question.
Okay, so we won't specify.
There's also just a very practical issue here.
Yeah.
We just adopted the budget, and neither of these two things are in the budget.
Right. But this would be like donations coming from people,
We
not.
still have to allocate.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so this may be something we want to work to,
Yeah.
but we're not going to do it right now.
Okay. So then, how about we land here for now? That we add to the ordinance that we will actively make referrals to legal aid organizations and other legal services organizations that assist people. Yeah.
So
Does that need to
there's
be?
a legal construction of us making referrals to council. We will make information available on this topic like we make information
Got it.
available on all other topics, but we're not recommending a lawyer.
Right.
For
And we can take care of this function to the advocates here. I want to address this to you. Remember that another way for us to address this concern, and this is coming down the pike after we get this ordinance adopted, we can address some of these individual concerns with people that we know who are in this type of crisis through our health department, right? And using our social workers. We haven't figured out that process yet or that workflow, but that is another way of doing that because they're going to be assisting that household anyway, possibly with, as you said, maybe rent is due, father just got picked up, got abducted, yes, I mean, some of these other homelessness prevention, utility assistance, we have students who don't have access now to to their schools and so on and so forth. So we can get that work done with our crisis intervention social workers as opposed to saying in the ordinance, oh, we're going to pay for legal counsel. Yeah. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We're good?
Yep.
Do we? Okay. Public comment's coming. Yeah, it's coming. One last public comment.
Yeah, you have to wait for a moment.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
So we're going to move forward with
This
introduction.
will be on for next meeting?
Yes, it'll be introduced on June 16th, and second reading would be July 7th.
And we'll talk, obviously, in between.
Okay.
As we do.
All right. Consent agenda, can we get a motion to move the consent agenda with 18J, Resolution 206-26, increase to $31,500, and the removal of 18N, Resolution 211-26?
So moved. You did the hard part.
Mayor, I move the consent agenda.
It's been moved.
Oh, you did, okay.
It's been moved and seconded.
Right, second.
Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Collins Golding?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Terman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes. Okay, now we're open to public comment.
My name is Georgiana Hart, and I'm a recent resident here in Maplewood, just formerly of
Welcome.
South Orange. And I'm really proud to be here and am very welcomed. The discussion, I think, has been very open and receptive here, and I'm extremely interested in what's going on with the immigrant community. And that's one reason I'm here, present. And my only statement that I wanted to make today really doesn't have to do with specific individuals, but something that I was recently aware of, where they are now kind of warehousing people in outside of communities. And this might happen here in Maplewood, where all of a sudden they've decided to turn a warehouse into an immigration detention facility. And it's happened in different areas in New Jersey, and I could name them specifically, but I think when you mentioned a call out to the community, it kind of rang a bell in my head that this is a way that something like that could be prevented from happening here in Maplewood. And these other communities were taken by surprise because it is a very surreptitious mechanism that they use to involve ICE, but mainly legislation and the ability to utilize facilities such as warehouses to house immigrants. So I wanted just kind of to give everybody a heads up, because you're a very aware community, and I know that very well, having lived in South Orange for years and been a member of this community. And you might think that this is too broad a subject, but what I saw on the agenda here, the shuttling of, I said, you know, the scope is something I need to take to heart too, and to look around at what's been happening in other communities, and just kind of a heads up, because they will sneak in a warehouse here, a detention facility there. So thank you.
Thank you.
I really wanted to commend you all, and I wanted to thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
And welcome again to Maplewood.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Janet Haynes, also a new Maplewood resident. I just want to say thank you for being out there, for being intentional, for protecting our citizens. And I applaud the mayor for saying, let's get on with this. We'll worry about the details in the words, but let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see if there's anyone online.
If anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand. I am moving over South Orange Mayor Sheena Cullum to panelist.
Great.
Welcome, Mayor Cullum. You may unmute yourself and address the committee.
Hey, committee, how are you?
Tired.
Hey, Mayor.
Sorry, can you change the video? I'm looking at an empty podium.
So are we. We're hoping to see your face.
I'm already ready for bed. I wanted to follow up. I saw the shuttle working group kind of give you guys an overview. I'm scheduled to meet with them in June. We had an internal meeting. I agree with a lot of the questions and comments and concerns you guys raised, but I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the partnership with Seton Hall. I think they called it marketing students. It's not marketing students, it's Seton Hall's Market Research Center. They have worked with South Orange before in the past in the creation of Seton Village and some of the investments over there. I know that they've worked with the school district. They are supervised with faculty that is very data based in how surveys go out. There would be a lot of conditional logic that I think makes sense, whether you're general population versus a special needs population versus a teenager, to really hone in on some of those answers so that we're not expending funds for something that wouldn't be useful. So that program would kick off in the fall and have 2 dedicated groups specifically focused at looking at this shuttle opportunity for both South Orange and for Maplewood, whether we do it together, separately, joint grant. But that's probably the best way that we can collect data. And I do agree with you, Committeeman Daffis, is that things have changed a lot from 2018, and we're seeing some new needs arising in the community, particularly not just the seniors, but I've seen a lot of interest from teenagers jumping all over the place from the programs they're going to. And believe it or not, our residents love coming into Maplewood, and I'm pretty sure that Maplewood residents like visiting South Orange, and that's great economic development for both of us. So, and that would kick off in the fall. So I hope that provides a little insight as to the survey. Obviously, the working group, along with the Township Committee, if you're supportive of this, would be all inclusive of all the stakeholders so that, you know, some people have participated so far and some haven't. But then we could do focus groups. Also, they have an entire market research center where you can have deliberative focus groups and things of that nature. And then, you know, surveys are good electronically, but also hard copy as well. So I hope that provides a little bit more context into what the opportunity is and that partnership for the fall.
That's great.
Thank you.
You have any questions on that, or is that pretty straightforward?
I think it's straightforward.
Okay, I also wanted to say congratulations to Mayor DeLuca. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you.
And last thing with my 15 seconds, I don't want to disagree with anything that you guys talked about, but just know that in South Orange, we did set aside $15,000 for legal defense. And it is my understanding that this does serve a public purpose standard through New Jersey state law. So if you guys want to talk offline about funding resources and how we've structured ours, happy to do so, because I did a deep dive into this after hearing from Soma Action and some of the issues we've seen. And there was precedent within the state as well, is that they have the Detention and Deportation Defense Initiative. So it wouldn't be something new for municipalities to guarantee due process. So anyways, I know I'm over time, but just wanted to add that because I enjoyed your last conversation.
I'll be reaching out to you about that. Thank you very much.
Sounds great. Have a good night, all.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Anyone else?
If anyone else joining on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand. I see no other hands, Mayor.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adams? Yes. Collins Colding? Yes. Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Ms. Herman?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, we'll see you on June 16th.
Good night.
Sorry, I got a long day tomorrow.